The economical model of functional diversity. Benefits of functional diversity. First, I refuse to say the word disabled. To me, it carries a pejorative connotation that does not reflect my reality. It is true that I cannot do everything I once did, but in many ways, I am more able to change the world now than before. I have become more conscious of discrimination, and I am more able to shape society and influence the world around me. I believe, more than before, that I have more capabilities to change society and the world we live in. Society may label me as disabled, but I am not in error. What is often truly disabled is society itself. I want to make an impact in the world, society, and on other people. The word equality is frequently used, but often in an incomplete way. For example, the Ministry of Equality, a term for an organization that I believe is misleading. I do not consider myself equal to others, nor do I want to be like everyone else. Instead, I advocate for the concept of equality of rights. I want to have the same rights as any other citizens, without being treated differently or prejudiced. Society needs to embrace and protect its diversity. We are not the same, and it should be called the Ministry of Equal Rights. Today, inclusion is a buzzword, but I refused to define myself as excluded. I am part of this society, and I am not excluded. I do not want to be forced into a society that discriminates against me. Groucho Marx's famous quote rings true: he did not want to belong to any club that would have him as a member. But I am part of this society with all its contradictions. The term inclusion treats society as a binary, labeling people as either excluded or included. The reality is more complex, and it is never absolute. Historically, functional diversity has been understood through different models, each reflecting changing attitudes towards people with functional diversity, previously known as disabilities. These models include: 1. The moral model. This early model focused on hiding people with functional diversity, framing it as something private and almost religious. Helping others was seen as an act of piety but not something to be acknowledged publicly. It sought perfection and rejected any form of diversity. 2. The medical model. With the advent of the two world wars, many veterans suffered health problems and amputations. The medical model emerged during this time, emphasizing on rehabilitation. It was the first time physical aids and architectural reforms were introduced, and governments began prioritizing access to public spaces. The organization Red Cross had an important social role during that time. 3. The social model. Emerging on the 60s, the social model focused on equal human rights for people with functional diversity. This movement started and was especially prominent in Berkeley, California, emphasized independent living and deinstitutionalization. The Center for Independent Living, CIL, and the movement, led by Ed Roberts, championed the rights of individuals with functional diversity and created a community. The Crip theory, shown in the recent documentary Crip Camp, and Human Rights Declaration for People with Functional Diversity defined during the time in the United Nations, were their key milestones. This model humanized the conversation and actions around functional diversity and pushed for a more inclusive world. 4. The economic model. Today, I propose a new economic model inspired by the contributions of people with functional diversity. Accessibility is often seen as too expensive, but this is a misconception. Accessibility is not just an expense, it's an investment that benefits everyone in the business. For me to use a building, it must be accessible. So, there is no question about for me favoring accessibility. I believe the state should prioritize accessibility not as an optional feature, but as a collective gain. Functional diversity brings economic benefits to society, businesses, and the economy. Furthermore, there is a common belief that people with functional diversity cannot be leaders in companies or hold positions of power. This model suggests that we have unique abilities that can benefit economy and organizations. I propose that people with functional diversity can and should be leaders. In macroeconomics, the richest countries tend to be the most accessible. This is simply explained because they have more resources and money to spend on accessibility. But the opposite is true, the countries that pollute more tend to be wealthier. This shows that economic growth and environmental impact are interconnected. Functional diversity plays differently and sets a more complex model than to be rich, more advanced, and poor living with goodwill. This more complex economic model suggests that embracing functional diversity can bring significant societal and economic benefits. This presentation explains the economic benefits of functional diversity in the world and society. I have personally seen these benefits. Despite the challenges of living with functional diversity, which affects my life, my relationships, my work, activities, and society. Using my case and personal perspective, I define this economic model influenced by persons with functional diversity. What happened to me helped me to perceive the world in a new way. This presentation aims to offer a fresh and thought-provoking perspective on functional diversity, highlighting its positive economic impact. I believe it's important to recognize that this topic is complex, and brings a human perspective. My insights are shaped by my personal experiences, particularly the accident I endured 12 years ago, which drastically altered my life and my worldview. While I don't wish to dwell on the specifics of the accident, it has shaped my understanding of functional diversity and its broader implications. Economic model on functional diversity. According to the World Health Organization, WHO, 16% of the global population experiences some form of functional diversity, which translates to 110 to 120 million people. This figure does not even include the 10% of the population over 65 years old. Additionally, there are temporary disabilities that people experience, such as when you break a leg, become pregnant, or care for a child. So, if we are generous, 1 out of every 3 people require accessibility. This raises the question, why do society, professionals, and governments continue to ignore this reality? The economic model I propose offers a new perspective on how functional diversity impacts and benefits individuals, businesses, and society. It explains how activities and organizations can become more human and dynamic when society embraces diversity and human imperfection. This economic model challenges the profit-driven capitalist mindset and instead advocates for human collaboration, empathy and solidarity. What are the economic benefits of functional diversity? 1. Intrapersonal perspective. This model starts by examining how functional diversity shapes me personally and my identity. As an imperfect being, I have become more creative in adapting to life's challenges and my surrounding. This creativity is not only beneficial for overcoming obstacles in my own life, but it also enhances my ability to solve problems in a variety of contexts, benefiting others in the process. 2. Interpersonal relations. Functional diversity encourages patience, empathy, and greater dependence on others. It fosters flexibility in our interactions with people, environments, and situations. This flexibility is particularly valuable in how we engage with technology, such as artificial intelligence, and in how we navigate complex human relationships and data-driven decision-making. 3. Productivity in companies. Functional diversity challenges conventional productivity models and brings together various approaches to achieve shared goals. It's a hybrid model that values different perspectives and methods, all of which contribute to problem-solving in a collaborative way. This model is not about individual achievement, it is about working together as a cohesive team, where every member's contribution enhances the collective effort. 4. Social impact. The economic model I am presenting is dynamic. It's not a fixed, one-size-fits-all solution. Rather, it evolves in response to emerging situations and challenges, making it a model that is a process that can change to new emerging situations. To illustrate these points, I will first share my personal story as an example of someone living with functional diversity. Then, I will delve into the lessons I have learned from this. Following that, I will analyze the struggles of the current situation. At the end I will extrapolate this in a system and on this new economic model.